Unconscious Identification with the Mind, posted on September 16th, 2011. The way our brain works decides how we experience our physical existence, because the brain is the center that creates interpretations and perceptions, and thus creating our experience of life. Simply put, your entire world resides in your brain, because it's through your brain that you create the experience of your world. If you compare several humans, men and women, in terms of how their brain works, you'll find a lot of similarities, but you'll also find several distinctions in the way each person perceives reality. The way your brain perceives reality has a lot to do with the conditioning you receive from external sources while growing up, and also your natural conditioning, genetics, and DNA. Bringing a detached awareness to the perceptions of your brain is a huge catalyst for transformation. The holistic intelligence of this silent awareness can transform several negative patterns of thought running in your brain. Unconscious identification with mind is unintelligent. When you're totally lost in your brain and mind movement, it's like being in a waking dream state. In Hindu scriptures, there is a mention of 4 states of being. The sleep state, when you are in a deep sleep at night. The dream state, akin to when you're dreaming while sleeping. The waking dream state, when you're lost in the mind while being physically awake. And the conscious state, when there is a space of awareness and you're not totally lost in the mind when you're awake. The conscious state is a highly intelligent state of being because there's a presence of a deeper wisdom that comes from the space of awareness. It's like being connected to the wisdom of life and universal consciousness. This space of awareness creates a gap in the constant noise of the thinking mind and thus allows for intelligent response instead of an unconscious reaction. As this awareness keeps becoming stronger, it puts you in a place of stability where you're able to see through the various dysfunctional and negative thought patterns in the brain and thus transform it or dissolve it. Bringing awareness to the fears of the brain. The brain has the capacity to produce highly fear-based thoughts owing to its negative projections and perceptions based on its conditioning. When you're unconsciously identified with the brain, there is a tendency to be taken in fully by these fears and thus react negatively to many situations in life. When you allow for the space of awareness to become deeper in you, you'll notice that you're not totally taken in by the mind's momentum, and there is a peace even in the midst of the agitation created by the mind noise. This awareness not only helps you respond intelligently to a situation, but it also allows the dissolution of these fear-based thought patterns in the mind. All fears originate in the human brain. All your phobias arise from your brain, and they're created as thoughts. None of the phobias would exist if you were to transform the thought patterns in your brain, and the only way to do so is to bring a deep awareness into the brain's movement, similar to the way a scientist brings deep observation to a chemical phenomenon which is taking place. You can erase deep-rooted fears in the brain by shining the light of awareness on them. This is the only way to really make a shift or true transformation. The mind cannot transform itself without the presence of awareness. Seeing through negative thought patterns in the brain. Once your awareness starts deepening, you'll be amazed at how much subtle and gross negativity is present in most of your thought patterns. Some negative patterns to watch out for are self-hatred and self-criticism, guilt, fear of the future, irritation or frustration with the present, resentment of the past, fear of the physical world, people, objects, institutions, systems, etc., and lack-based thoughts. In most people, the major ones are usually self-hatred or inferior self-image and fear of the future. Bringing a space of deep awareness to these fears and negative thought patterns starts bringing a transformation through the silent intelligence of consciousness. A lot of people are not aware of the deep intelligence that's present in the conscious state because it doesn't involve thinking or sorting out. It just involves bringing into a silent awareness. It can feel very unpleasant to bring awareness to certain painful or fearful thought patterns in the brain, but this is the only way these patterns can get dissolved finally. As long as you keep distracting yourself from facing them within you, they will continue to keep you hostage. When you bring awareness to these patterns, It may feel unpleasant for a while, but you will soon see how powerless they become in the light of awareness. The transformation that takes place under the influence of the intelligence of awareness is permanent in that those patterns get dissolved forever.